Now that you have finished doing the King Kong layout, you're going to choose one of these folders and you're going to, without a lot of video instruction, recreate the basic grid. So that's the columns of text, the gray boxes for the photos. You'll type in the headline and the subheadings. You'll put the folio in and pull quote, and we'll go over all of that in class. But right here under the magazine grid, I have a variety of different layouts for you to choose from, probably more than we're ever going to use. And I haven't tested these out because I know these are in British sizes. So it means that when we lay this out in InDesign, it may not match up 100%, but we're going to get as close as possible. So let me show you the options that you have. So let me pull this open. So first one that we have is a magazine article on the Harlequin animated series. So you're going to create this. So for example, on this one, you would make a large gray box to indicate where the photo would be. You would set up your columns, and I'll show you a way to set that up here in just a moment. You'll put in you'll actually type this part out and you'll type this part out. And then you can use space holder text for these. Don't worry if you can't find the exact same font, but try to find something relatively close. Don't spend forever on it, but try to create something. You'll put in your folio. That's the page number and stuff that's down here. You want to make sure you include the line. On this one, you'll do the same thing. Type in must see TV. You don't have to do this one if you don't want to, the little small part, but do the bigger ones. And then folio, columns of text, a placeholder for where this would be, a placeholder for this. Notice this is a rounded rectangle. These are rounded rectangles as well, so make sure that those are rounded. These are square. Then there's one on Pixar. So again, you'll type in the title, you'll do the pull, or not the pull quote, but the drop cap. This is the pull quote. So actually type that one out, make that drop cap, make these. Then on the second page, you'll set up all the picture frames. Go ahead and include the circle if you'd like. You can use a picture frame for this one. And again, when I'm saying picture frame, I'm just talking about a gray box. There's a pull quote again, photos, columns, and then there's one of the subheadings. So you want to make sure you put that there, and then captions. You can use placeholder text for these, but for the subheadings, definitely type your own. I mean, try to match it up as best as possible. Same kind of thing here, pictures, text, drop cap, folio. Don't worry about building this exact thing here. You can just do one picture frame to represent this area down here. One picture frame here. Remember, on this picture frame, make sure that you set up a what you call it, text wrap. Same kind of thing on these. You want to set up text wraps on these. When you get to this part, before doing the text wrap, I would take this photo and that text box and group those together and then apply the text wrap. If not, you won't be able to get this to fit in there. Same kind of stuff down here. Again, just basic photos. There's the pull quote. For this one, it could be one large image. You may decide to make the little rectangle if you want, but type out, did the Romans wear underwear? You don't have to put this part here if you don't want. Do the drop cap. Get your text and everything here, your columns of text, folio, page number, same kind of stuff there, page numbers. That's your pull quote. It's right up here. Text boxes. Don't worry about doing I would do these subheadings, but I'm okay if you make these subheadings just placeholder text. You don't have to type out the actual sentences on those. For this one, build up these top corners. This piece here, don't worry about putting the text in. Just put a text box. Make this title as best you can. You can use placeholder text for that one. Again, the top corners, set up this little sidebar. There's the pull quote. There's the drop cap. For this Batman one, do the text along this side. Don't worry if you can't find the exact font, but try to make something. Get the Batman pieces listed up here, the folio down here, placeholder text for this pull quote. Same kind of thing here. Set up the top corners, set up this little sidebar. For these, again, I don't care that you type the actual words out for this, but make sure they're in a separate box and they're a bigger font than the rest of the body copy. Boxes here. Get your captions in the corner. Make sure you make a red box for the caption and put in white text as a placeholder. For this one, same thing. Large box. There's your title. There's your main. That's kind of like the subhead, another subheading, but the beginning portion of the article. Columns, you've got your pull quote with a text wrap. You've got your folio down here in the bottom. Set these up with a box. Set up just little basic text columns. Set up a text wrap around kind of an odd shape. I'm fine if you take like your pen tool and just kind of draw a little shape kind of around this and then make the text wrap so that it actually kicks the text inside. Set up your captions and everything. Type out the barrier to entry, the give me strength, but the rest of this body copy, oh, and the stronger together, but the rest of the body copy can just be placeholder text. For this one, this is a well-being magazine about mental health. Get your pull quote, you get your subheadings, you get your folios down here, you get your title. This you can do placeholder text for, but the being up, well, down, I would put that one as a actual text. Try to match up the fonts here for your subheadings. And they would be in a separate text box. The rest of these can be just regular text. There's your pull quote folio. It's a soccer magazine. Now this, oops, sorry, my mouse is going fast. This one had kind of a funky gap in the center. Just assume that it goes all the way across, so you can make one big picture. I would type this one out in a font, set up the text frame, make sure that the picture stops down here so you have white space to be able to put the folio. Then same kind of stuff here. Type out biography. This one doesn't have any subheadings. It doesn't have anything that breaks up the paragraph, so you don't have to do that portion. But there's a pull quote example. Got your text box there, your folios in the corner, setting up columns of text. Assume that this picture, again, because of that funky gap, that it actually bridges the gap there. So you only need one big text box. This one, put the stuff up here in the corners. You got your, try to find a font that's close. Don't worry about making this one perfect. Put blue for text and try to make this, but you may not find a font that's exactly the same as that. For this part, there's your drop cap. Like they've got a secondary drop cap. That's not usually standard. I don't see that a lot, but stylistically, I guess they're going for that consistent drop cap, so that's fine. There's your pull quote. Don't worry about putting this box around here. The digital reader that I had, when I moved my mouse over this, it put this little blue box, so don't worry about that. But do include this blue frame. Type out the word together alone, and then put in smaller text boxes, these pieces. Those are the subheadings, or the questions that are there. Again, you do not have to type that all the way out, but notice the font is different. So really pay attention to when it's a sans serif font. That's one where it's like block letters versus one that is a serif font where it's got the little feet at the end. Put in your folios. This one's about puppies. So find two alternating fonts for this one. Set up your frame there for with color. Picture that goes all the way out. Boxes for your captions, your pull quote, a tip piece here that has a text wrap. Notice there's a pink bar. Make sure to include that. Make a circle to hold a photo. So if you're not sure how to do a photo circle, let me know. There's another pull quote. Looks like they have two on this one. And then same kind of thing here, circle, captions, pull quote, sidebar. Just use your eyedropper and you can suck up that color to try to get the colors as close as possible. Don't forget to put in the drop cap and the caption boxes. This one's for Halo. Noticing a lot of a pattern. So you've got titles up here, folios down at the bottom, this font that's pretty spread out. It's kind of funky looking. And same kind of thing here. Now, as you're working with this, especially with the drop cap, this one may take you a minute to work with, but I can show you. Remember when we did Illustrator, if you take a rectangle and it's sideways, you can grab those top two anchor points with the direct select and just right click a couple times and it'll nudge it to turn it into a parallelogram. You can just draw out like a simple little shape for this part to represent the person to do the what we'll call a text wrap around. Make sure that you include the captions that are in the corner. There is the pull quote. Make sure you use the colors difference on the quotes. There's your folio at the bottom. And there's a couple extra pictures to supplement. Notice how this has a little bit of a color for the buffer. That's really just a border that's been added to this picture. So you just make a really, really thick border, or you could make a rectangle that's underneath of that. Totally up to you. All right, almost done. This is for the car. The folio on this one, it's kind of odd. They put it up here at the top. That's not usual, but interesting. So they've got that. There's your drop cap. Type in the title so that it looks something like this. You can use placeholder text for the writer part, but make sure you alternate it. See how it's thin here, then it's thick, thin, thick, thin, thick. And then your, what should we call it, your regular text. Here, photos, make sure you include the captions, you include the folio. This is one big picture down here. This one, it's the same size as this one. Caption, pull quote, photo, caption, folio. Here's one for food. So write this entire thing out here. Set this up so there's a text wrap on a photo box. You can do one big photo for this whole thing if you want, or you could do one big photo for this part and then one for this edge here. You've got your drop cap, you've got your subheading, you've got your pull quote that continues on here. Subheadings, make sure that you put those separate from the text and pay attention to the amount of space that you have above each one. Then for the recipe, if you want help on doing these bullets, because the bullets by default do not stay that close, I can help you with that. A box for the frame. Don't forget to put the health matters up here in the corner. And then the last one is from a traveler magazine. This is about cowboys in Mexico. Find a font that looks similar, set up your 2 picture frames. You can do placeholder text for this. I would probably type these out. It's a small amount of text. Once you find that font, it'll match up with this one. There's just a thin version and a bold. Do your folio there. Then set up these titles up in the corner, your folio, your captions, your columns of text, and your pull quote. Also make sure that you include a stroke on these so that you get this white line, or make sure that they snap perfectly aligned with each other to expose the white of the background. And those are the ones that you will have to choose from. In the next video that will be much shorter, I will show you how to, once you've chosen one of these, how to actually put it together in InDesign.